This guy can't clap. Give us a little clap. There we go.
Let me get one.
You didn't put that in the...
That might be the intro.
Yeah,
that'll be the intro.
Yeah, nice.
So we'll do intros now, and then
do intros.
it'll do a little film roll.
And welcome to the Mocktown Podcast. I'm here, my name's Saxon, here with my beautiful co-host, Declan. And
Hello.
we've had quite the chappy.
Oh boy.
We've had quite the chappy, the biggest chapter since the
boy.
beginning of Mocktown Podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so,
sure.
because I think we started after the mural. So this is the big dog.
The mural started the podcast.
Yes, okay, yes. We obviously did the deep dive of the mural. That was probably maybe for the greater story just as big, but this is huge for the greater story too.
But hey, welcome back. Give us a like. Hey, Tom and Florian, we see you in the comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. You know, it's great to have support from our friends outside of the pod.
Yeah.
And the more support we get from fans of the pod, that's the dream. That's the real dream.
We've had some people reacting to our comments on Instagram.
Yeah, we've decided, we've spoken about this before, we need to be more active on other socials. So TikTok will be eventually coming and Reels, but right now you'll find us in the comment section of a few One Piece fan pages.
Getting into some arguments.
Yeah, we'll be posting memes and talking points on our story and just trying to stay active for the greater community as a whole, because you guys need this from us. But yeah,
Because no one else is doing it.
no one else is doing it. No one else is talking about One Piece, which is crazy for such a big manga. There's not a single
manga.
There's not a single content creator for One Piece. But here we are. We're going to jump straight into chapter 1149.
And just as it all goes, hey, sit back, get cozy. We've got a lot to cover.
Get cozy.
And something I've just noticed, because right now, we've got the big screen TV, because this is a high production company. We're looking at the double spread. As great, as much as I love these colour spreads, Bonnie is holding something that says RIP.
I literally just saw that as you were queuing this up. Your thoughts? Is this a death flag? We know we've seen Usopp get quite a few death flags in colour spreads. A lot of skulls that he's holding. But this one on Bonnie.
But you know what? Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting.
That's interesting and really scary, because I love Bonnie. I think if Bonnie dies, I will I'll be upset for a few days.
I was going to say, will this be the first child death? But
probably child character that's like named and is actually a part of the narrative dying. Yeah, I guess you could say Momo technically died when he became an adult, just skipped his adolescence.
yeah, death of childhood.
Great TV show, by the way. But Maid Cafe, we got a ram in the back.
And just like adolescence, this podcast is going to be one shot.
One shot.
We don't need to cut.
No needs for
Sometimes
cuts.
we do. Actually, we have cut before.
We've definitely cut, and we will probably cut in the end.
But do you want to go? There's just look. It's a Maid Cafe. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, I don't know what Batakuri means, but it's a Maid Cafe. Color spread. Everyone's looking cool. Lilith is there, so
She's just giving Usopp the check. He's very shocked, and so does this cat. This cat is very.
This cat is also like, look at the bill these guys rung up, and it's like, why isn't Nami the money person? Give it a. I'm gonna skip straight through though, because I want to jump straight into 11:49. 1 second.
Ooh.
Now, very funny, because last week I did talk about how the whole chapter went in 30 seconds. Now, just about the whole chapter is within one. And boy, oh boy, Scopogaban, he uses 1 second very well.
Yeah,
Let's get into
the best
it.
we've seen.
The best we've seen.
Saxon, take it away.
Take it away. Well, so the first page, we open up, getting a reaction shot from Scopogaban after... And the crew that is tied up after chopping off Sommer's arm. Everyone's shocked. How did he do it? What did he do from Usopp? Great question.
Move the mouse closer to you.
Move the mouse a little closer. Yeah, that's better. I'll hide it away. But yeah, no, we get Usopp with the curiosity, and I think a lot of the Straw Hats very curious about how he did it, and I'm keen to get into talking about that. Obviously, we get the I'm rusty from Scopper. Old man says he's rusty. Probably just means he was way stronger as a youth, which makes sense. Cool little axe move. Scopper's so cool, man. Like, I think in one arc, but specifically the last 2 chapters, he's on that Rayleigh like line of coolness for me. I really, really love like Scopper, and the Roger pirates are so strong. Like, this is 1 and 2, we know that, but I think as far as the Roger pirates goes, everyone on that crew is probably at a very high level of combat ability. Scopper comes in, takes out Sommers yet again. There's definitely conquerors coming from Scopper's axe at like every impact. He's imbuing that axe with conquerors, and it's also black, so I would suggest he's also doing advanced armament. Do you think this is a Haki thing, what he's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon Haki.
Because we've got advanced conquerors to an extent. You know what? We got advanced conquerors for Zoro before we got conquerors Haki. Now, that was forced out of him by Enma, and I think what we're going to see is a personal theory of mine. I'm going to quickly jump into conquerors Haki quickly, if you're okay with that.
I'm all for it.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. Because I have a personal theory that, and this is something with Haki that I feel like has sort of been misrepresented by the community, but Haki is a power of will, and I personally think that every single person has all 3 forms of Haki if they will it enough. Some people don't have strong wills. Some people's wills have been broken. Those people do have access to Conqueror's Haki or all forms of Haki. It's just their wills don't allow it. They don't have enough mental fortitude for it.
So they need to desire it.
They need to desire it.
Like
they
a will of desire.
Absolutely. Potentially. But yeah, no, I think absolutely it's a desire thing. People see monsters with Conqueror's Haki, like the strongest people in the world with Conqueror's Haki. So, of course, they assume that you have to be the strongest person to get Conqueror's Haki. I think Conqueror's Haki is just a sign that you know exactly what it is you want out of your life and you're driven to find it. So, I think there is many characters. I think every single Straw Hat fills that, like, desire. Every single one has lofty dreams and they're chasing them because of Luffy. So I think Luffy's real power for his crew is going to be the fact that he encourages them and gives them the belief that they have the will to conquer whatever they want or whatever journey and dream they have. So that's just my little like take on Conqueror's Haki. Also, I have a little, I believe it was when Frankie body slammed Senor Pink, and there's like black lightning around the attack. I think that's just a sign that like Frankie had such strong will to beat Senor Pink that he was able to access a little of that Conqueror's Haki. Now I do think there is difference in levels to Conqueror's Haki. You know, like someone like Luffy is going to have stronger Conqueror's Haki than even Zoro and Sanji, even though Zoro's goal is, everyone says, just as lofty as Luffy's, but Luffy's is stronger and he is chasing something bigger and he has more of a will to achieve it. I don't think Luffy ever joins a pirate crew as an adult. Zoro did. And I think that is just like the small difference. And it's the same with Roger. Rayleigh and Gabon clearly have conquerors now, but Roger's was stronger and they're clearly on the same level, left and right hand. But Roger was a little bit stronger because he just had that little bit more will, that little bit more drive, and that little loftier expectations on how to be strong. So that's just my little take on Conqueror's Haki, and I think like it's going to become very important in the next rest of the arc.
Yep.
Perfect. So yeah, we get this fight between Summers and Scopper. Comments from the crew about like how Scopper was just pushing Luffy and Zoro around. They bring up the fact that he is the father of Colin. Everyone's just sort of reacting to either realizing that is Scopper Gabon or just seeing how strong he is.
And Chopper trying to figure out how his attacks are doing damage.
Yes. This is a very big thing. We get drip-fed commentary on like what actually is going on from Chopper. He is the viewer in this chapter.
It's interesting that it's him that's like, how is this happening?
Right. I think this is a very good sign for Chopper's future. Obviously, for Robin, this, like, the thorns are literally the instant stop for her ability. Like, the petals just fall apart the second she touches the thorns. So once she personally is engulfed in them, it's bad news. Onto page 6 and 7, Thorn Hunt, we get Summers lift thorns out of the ground. But Scopper's that guy. Moves through them, jumps over them. I don't know, this will be really cleared up in the anime. It's going to be such a good fight in the anime when it starts. But he quickly just kills Summers? No.
Incapacitates.
So you think there is going to be some form of, like, regeneration ability that Summers still has? No?
I just think I don't think the Holy Knights are alive.
Oh, what's our thoughts, fans? I agree with you.
Yeah, because I think even when he hits the ground, I think maybe the next page, but he's still like alive. He just can't move now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Well, I think as we get onto the chapter, both you and I maybe have some theories about the Reverie and what happened there when we saw Emu's powers. But let's just keep moving through the chapter. Scopper, yet again, just absolutely dismantles
Cuts
Summers.
through his sword and his body.
Yep, Summers goes down. So it doesn't really show Summers post this, unless there is another cutaway that I'm ignoring. But immediately, straight into action, Chopper. So we see Scopper's running away. I'm coming, Colin. He's going to Colin. He's going to save Colin and the kids. Chopper comes through and is like, I'm going too. I need to find out this ability. You know, Nami is like, what's going on? Chopper's like, how is he able to slice up a guy who's immortal? That's got to be a crucial secret. And damn right it is.
How for me, I'm surprised.
Yep.
Because how else, like, how aren't any of the other people being like, we need to figure this out?
Well, I think the rest of the Straw Hats are just too bound up to do anything. Because they've got Gunko's arrows still binding them. So I think until Gunko has some sort of like big hit maybe where she needs to deactivate her powers.
Chopper was in Saul's beard the whole time.
Yes, Chopper was in Saul's beard. So he's just jumped out and run away. He's really the only person who can mobilize, but it's huge that it was Chopper. I think he was a massive talking point of last week with the Hito Nomi discussion. He's stepping up into a very fine young man. Reindeer man. We cut over to the B line of this this whole interaction, which is burning down the library. We get the Kirin Shepherd. That's it. We get Shepherd, and he's telling the
Killingham.
It's
Shepherd Summers.
And Killingham. Yep. Taking out the teacher, making her burn down the library, shoots an arrow towards it, covered in fire.
Which, I don't know, to me, that's so funny. That's all it is he's just shooting
a fire arrow. Yeah, I would like to think that he's taken...
the whole establishment ruined.
Yeah, I know. I would like to think he's, like, getting the arrows and putting them, using the flames on his back, and being that he has a Kirin fruit, I would assume the flames are maybe more powerful than regular flames. I think... Actually, now that I say it, flames versus flames. Could this be a opponent for Sabo? I could definitely see this being a quick opponent for Sabo, where they go, oh, here's the first God's Knight that the Revs have to fight, and Sabo's just like, done. Because I think the Revs are going to be able to deal with the God's Knights. I think they know the secret of this Haki.
What if? Crazy theory.
Give it to me.
Maybe a bit too silly.
Give it to me. This is One Piece. There's no such thing as too silly. We literally spoke about Croco Mum yesterday.
That's last week.
Last ep.
Yesterday in the episodes.
Yeah.
We film every day.
Yeah. We only release once a week.
Killingham can put people to sleep.
Yeah.
Which character hasn't ever slept?
Do you think there's going to be an interaction between Killingham and Blackbeard? Oh, that would actually be so cool if Killingham's like, I can deal with this Blackbeard guy, and tries to put him in.
But what
sleep.
if that's when the
Do you think it's
darkness takes
successful?
over? What if something happens?
Oh. Well, the sleeping thing isn't connected to the darkness fruit,
No.
but I want to pivot on one of my ideas regarding Blackbeard and the darkness fruit.
Yeah.
I don't think he has it. I think we were wrong last week when we were talking about how
Yesterday.
yesterday. I think we were wrong when we were talking about how he has the dark fruit, and that's no different. I actually think he may have a mythical Zoan now. Hito, Moon God, Forest God. I don't know what it is. Probably Moon God or something like that. I think he's got a different fruit than he has, and the Yami Nomi may be connected to a character that we'll get into later. I'm going to finish this at the end of the chapter.
Yeah, so you think he's got the Quake and something else?
And something else. Yeah, I think he's got Quake and then another probably mislabeled fruit. And going back to the example you gave where I was like, with the devil fruits looking so similar, and I was like, no, that could just be these guys are intrinsically connected thing. I'm actually starting to think now you were right, and that is not. That's a sign that this fruit is closer to the model Nika than it is the dark fruit.
So you're saying... Oh, I've got coffee grounds in my pants.
Ah, good. Finally. Something to humble you.
So you're saying you think it's a different fruit because it looks like the Hito Nomi model Nika?
More because I have a different impression on Emu's fruit.
Okay.
Which...
I just don't want you to think you're relating it to the model Nika because of the resemblance, because the human...
Yes, yeah, the regular was a mushroom. Look nothing alike. So it's not because the Hitos, I don't assume, like, the Buddha fruit, I assume is gold. Actually, I think we've got it. I think it's pretty much Luffy's, but gold. The Hito Nomi also has the same swirls as Luffy's, it's just in the shape of a mushroom, which maybe lends into the idea that it's a forest god. Mushrooms and forests are... Yeah, sorry, I haven't cleared my coffee machine yet.
That's fine.
Got
a great inspection today, no big deal.
Oh, yeah, who cares? Then I've got my coffee
mugs.
machine. Checking under the mug. There's ground coffee under this dirty mug that's in the sink. Pieces of work.
But I just think that'd be interesting. You have a character that can put people to sleep. You've got a character that's never slept.
Never slept. Yeah, I think there's definitely ability for a confrontation. Again, that is another one where I think Killingham's going to get wiped immediately if that confrontation does happen. Like, Blackbeard's going to be like, lol. I could even say it being Shiryu. They're going to, just to, like, power up Shiryu. This guy's like, I'm going to put Blackbeard to sleep. Tries to put him to sleep. Blackbeard's like, lol, zeh, ha, 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 ha. You can't put me to sleep. And then Shiryu's just like, oh, I'm also invisible. And you'll find out the Blackbeard crew knows how to deal with this power. Like, they have that advanced Conqueror's Haki, or that advanced form of fighting that we don't know about. That trickery that we don't know about yet. But yeah, no, it is pretty... It's just sort of like a very normal way to burn down a wooden building. It's just sort of like a little bit more normal than you'd expect. Jumping to, they're watching it burn. Robin is reacting to the burn. She can see it. Saul is dying, basically. Again, yeah.
Jarul is crying.
Pain. And then back. And we brought up a shout out for our friend Florian before. Friend of the show. He has informed me it's Ronya. It is absolutely Ronya. It is not Ronja. And I was saying Ronja.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry. Thanks, Flo. And I'm sorry to those who also got frustrated with him. Ronya.
Frustrated with him as in you?
With me. Yeah. I'm actually angry at him for bringing it up, for pointing out my flaws. Sorry, yeah, for me. But we do cut over to the children and Ronya, as they are walking out on Gunko's arrow over into the abyss, and just one of the most truly heartbreaking scenes. This poor Ronya girl has just had some of the most traumatic panels in the last 100 chapters. Like, we've had some hectic things go on, and I am like almost in tears every time I'm reading this storyline, this little plot line. But, you know, like, apologizing. I'm sorry that I'm still alive. I'm sorry that everything's burning because of me. No, it's not. It's not burning because of you. It's burning because of the evil people doing it to you. And this is the fucking pain of systemic oppression. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Ronya. Culture, children, troops, you don't have the right to take any of these things away, says Scopper to Gunko. And we get the first little part of the second Scopper interaction. A crewmate of the King of the Pirates, you realize that resistance means the death of these hostages. Comes through, and he's just like, you know what? I'm coming for you. And all he's thinking is, shut up, son. Don't tell them I'm your papa. Please. Please don't tell them. They don't know yet.
Keep your father's name out your motherfucking mouth.
Yeah, keep my name out your motherfucking mouth. But then Colin, of course, a kid in distress. Daddy's gonna make everything better. No. Sorry, Colin. Maybe not today. But we get to see Gunko shoot off on her arrow. She's
So fast.
lightning. Like Sanji level quick.
But we've seen Scopper move, and he's been fast.
Scopper is not a slow guy. I think Scopper is probably now equal with Sanji on speed. Sanji will be quicker because Scopper is older.
Got the arthritis.
Yeah, like Scopper's an old guy. He's not going to be able to move as quick as he did in his prime, but I get the feeling like he is Sanji's speed.
I don't know if they have like a magnesium spray in this world.
Get on it.
Something for the joints.
Something for this arthritic old man. But he's chasing Gunko to Colin, just trying to. I think he's trying to cut the arrow. But
I think he was just trying to get her.
Yeah, that also would make sense. That would make a lot of sense as well.
And there's a bit of a That's So Raven moment in the next page.
Yes. Yeah, so we immediately see Gunko's like going in for the kill against Colin.
The next page after, sorry.
And Gunko, we get a very strong moment from Scopper where he's like, hang in there, Colin, give me 1 second. And this is where the chapter title comes from. You're a big, strong boy now. And then Colin's like, I'm a warrior. I'm all in. So beat this creep. We get a little flashback of Ripley giving birth to Colin with Scopper as a younger man. Now, does this sort of disprove anyone that was like time dilation stuff? Because this feels like, we know Colin's about 20-something. It just looks like now Scopper has aged 20 years. If there is time dilation on Elbaph, which everyone was like curious about at the beginning, it's not affecting the people on Elbaph. Maybe time moves faster around Elbaph or slower around Elbaph.
Oh, because we heard that at the beginning of...
We heard that at the beginning. There was some things suggesting that there may be some time-based shenanigans this arc.
Who said not to spend too much time on the island? Was that the narrator?
Yes, that was the narrator who was like, yeah, you shouldn't spend too much time here. And I think that's where a lot of the crux of the time dilation theories have come from. I do think now we can say that we're not going to see Luffy age 10 years in 2 weeks. We're not going to see anything like that. I think we're going to see aging and the rest of the crew get stronger. I think potentially if we're going to see any time dilation, it'll be like the crew spends 6 months training, but it's actually been 2 years on the outside.
But you know what's crazy? In the One Piece world, in 2 weeks, in the real world, we age 10 years.
Yeah, you just lied.
I didn't?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, like...
Oh, okay, yes, I get it now. 2 weeks of in-story time takes 10 years. Yeah, you're probably right.
Would have been old, man.
How long was Wano in story? I think it was like a month.
Less.
Less?
And it was like 4 years.
No, a month in story.
Yeah, I thought it was less.
Probably. It could have been like 2-3 weeks.
it was
And
like
that
a week.
was,
I think
that
it was a
four
week.
and a half, nearly 5 years before we got off the island.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, like a week would. I think I don't care. I don't know, so I'm not going to try and find out because we got bigger fish to fry. Get it? Bigger. Giants.
Giant
Elbaph.
fish to fry.
Giant fish to fry. Should have said that.
Say it again.
Giant fish to fry.
Yeah.
Elbaph, get it? But Colin gets hit with Gunko's, like, what are they called? The joust. You know,
It's a needle.
it's like a needle, like a joust. Coming in with some thick Conqueror's Haki and an expression that is scary, frankly. Scopper's out here thinking, I have to put a stop to this before things spiral out of control. Sorry. And then we get
A glimpse of the future.
a glimpse of the future of Gunko killing Colin, and that is like a great bit of future sight. Obviously, we
We
now
haven't seen anything
concerned.
like that. Sick.
Yeah, that's. I feel like we've been almost waiting for future sight to be used in more like to see more brutal things happen, and then for them to get stopped. I feel like the most brutal thing that ever happened was Kid's attack on the red hair pirates, like crew or extra crew.
Yep. Shanks saw the.
Yeah, Shanks saw him destroy like 18 ships
He's
of
like-
just real weak people, and he was like, "Got to put a stop to this." This is so much more brutal than that because we are watching a child get killed in front of our eyes.
Pierced.
Scopper yields. He's like, "I'm done."
He knows, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's like, "I yield. I'm done." He cares more about his kid than the city of Elbaph, and I understand him. Like, I get it. I do not feel robbed of anything. I
Safe
think
to say, his only child because he's
Yeah.
lived.
Yeah, like this is his one child. Such a young child, like I know mid-20s, but 8 years old.
Yep.
Tends to be the age of these kids in the One Piece story. So he apologizes and he said, he's like, "I'm sorry, Elbaph. Like, I didn't mean to do this. I wanted things to go differently." And then Gunko just straight off the rip does not care.
Pierces him
Pierces
3
him.
times.
3 times straight off the edge into the abyss.
Now.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
Oh, okay. So that's, sometimes we don't discuss things beforehand and they just happen naturally. Like this moment. Because last chapter, we or I theorized that Ronya would fall down.
Yeah, you
into the
brought
underworld.
idea. I was a big agreeer.
Now, what if it wasn't Ronya that falls into the underworld? What if it's now Scopper Gabon?
Yeah, I
Falls?
think the idea of it being Ronya, it always felt like it was like, all right, they saved the kid. She goes, there's mean people up there, and then the Straw Hats go up there and just get wrecked because they can't handle the new power. Now we got to think about who is down there. We got Hyruden and a few of his crew members. Loki,
Goldberg.
Goldberg. He's one of the
But put justice
put some
to
respect on Goldberg's name. And then we got the monster trio, the real monster trio: Zoro, Luffy. I pointed at the wrong one, and Sanji. But we got the big dogs here now. Like, they're down there. We got Loki as well. Now,
the biggest dog.
realistically, Hyruden is probably the strongest and like the real leader of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet.
Yep.
He seems like to be like a glue figure to all the other pirate crews, especially now that Bardo's dead. We think. So I think there's a very strong chance that Hyruden, also with his lineage and stuff, is going to get a massive power up this arc. Loki is definitely someone who is going to be a massive part of the destruction of the world government.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows it yet, but he will be. And then obviously Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro. Theoretically, they are going to be 1, 2, and 3 strongest people in the verse by end of series. Maybe there'll be like a Loki or a Law or like another Blackbeard, even depending on how his story ends, in between Luffy and the 2 big dogs. But I think the left and right wing of the Pirate King are going to be close to the strongest people, top 5 in the verse by end of series. And if they're not equal, they will be 1% apart, like how Zoro is 1 centimeter taller than Sanji, or like there's a lot of symbolism where it's like they're almost the exact same in statistics, but Zoro will just be like 1 better. And I think I could see that being the case. Zoro will most likely be stronger than Sanji by like 1%. But in order to have that, Sanji needs to also learn all the tricks of the trade that Zoro and Luffy will inevitably learn. All the haki tricks.
But yes, I'm hoping this is what brings the big dogs into battle.
Yeah. So with as I was saying, with Ronya, it didn't really make sense. With Scopper, save him. He teaches them what to do. Scopper, what do you think happens after he teaches them?
Well, no, I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
You know how Luffy's always struggled with fights because he has to eat.
Yes.
He's just ate.
Yeah, he's eaten
a lot,
and so is Loki. And we know.
Is this the most powerful version of Luffy we're going to get now? Going into battle after
eating giant food. I think
put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I think potentially. No, I think you're 100% right. Like Luffy is at a point in his story where he's probably not. If he does get another power up, it will be through training. I don't think he's going to get an in-fight power up. Like this will be the in-fight power up actually coming up. Like he's going to learn how to take these guys down, and he'll probably use it on killing him, or maybe Shamrock comes back in and he uses it on him, or who he uses it on a character who shows up in the last page. I don't know. But I think this does make sense. I think you're 100% correct. I think your theory on Ronya dropping down, the only thing you got wrong was the fact that it's Scopper, not Ronya.
Yeah.
The ultimate idea
who could
of it.
predict this?
No one, I think, predicted this. I think everyone would have guessed that Scopper was going to come into action, especially when Colin was in danger. But to come in so early, and also to lose after showing that he absolutely... Like, he would decimate Gunko if Colin wasn't about to die. Like, that is 100% undisputable at this point. He would absolutely decimate Gunko, but she utilized the intel she had, which was Colin called him dad and went, I'll just kill him.
Or at the start of the next chapter, do we see some Conqueror's Haki from Colin?
That'd be sick.
Just screams out.
I think that,
and then just fucking hits Gunko.
Yeah, I definitely think there's an opportunity for that.
You're telling me a giant who's also the son of one of the Roger Pirates isn't going to have some sort of Conqueror's Haki? No,
absolutely. And especially with what I said before, like, Colin is a very willful kid. He's Luffy.
His hair looks like Gear 5 Luffy.
Yeah, like he is literally Luffy. He is playing that role of the son of an incredibly strong character within the story who is driven to be a warrior of Elbaph instead of a pirate. No, but he wants to be a pirate because he wants to go out with Shanks' crew. So he literally had the exact same interaction with Shanks. Shanks was like, yeah, no. But I think he's going to end up having a very similar interaction with Luffy, where Luffy has to be like, no, we'll probably give him maybe the straw hat. Like, honestly. Make it big, yeah. Like Luffy can stretch the straw hat and put it on his head. That would make complete sense to me. He could also be given that one, the frozen one that Emu had that was giant. That could go to Colin.
You'd need something... You'd like, because it's frozen, that you'd have to thaw it out somehow.
Well, you just take it out of there. We've got a pretty good fire guy who's probably going to be there.
You need like the Holy Land to get nice and humid for it to kind of thaw.
Wow.
Anyway, next page.
Burn. We're on the last page of the chapter, and this is where
so much happens.
So much happens in this part, and like I feel like it's smart that we ended the Scopper gets saved by the crew theory by the monster trio theory, because there's a lot to touch on this one. So I'm gonna face this one. I'm gonna give it a little bit more.
Just don't show nipple this time.
Hey, I didn't know what Careless Esper liked. I didn't know if he was into other body parts as well.
Shout out.
Shout out. But after, I guess, Colin yells "Daddy," it awakens something in Gunko. And now this is so hard.
Go for it.
There's so many levels. Because I look at that first one where she's crying, and that could be her as a kid, but
Looks
it's
like
still
Captain John.
I was gonna say it still looks like
Cavendish?
not Lilith. Oh my god, what's her name? Jory Bonnie's mum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
whatever her name is.
Dead.
Oh no, R.I.P. Like, I theorized that Gunko may be the daughter of, or like the sister of Bonnie, and I also think with that little Bonnie R.I.P. in the color spread, not looking good. But then we actually find out there's connections between Gunko's memory and a little pirate on the crew who goes, yo ho ho, yo ho ho ho.
But
So
think
cool,
of this time frame. Wasn't Brooke out in
100
sea for
years
like
ago.
30
Yeah,
years?
because he was like 30, 40. Yeah, I think he's like 120.
He was
130.
lost at sea for 30 years?
No, he was also saved for like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he, or maybe even more.
But then before that was a pirate. But then before that,
was
like
the leader of an army for a certain kingdom.
what the hell is even that?
Now, just doing quick math, no, that doesn't work. I was going to say God
Move it
Valley.
around.
I was going to say God Valley, but it doesn't
add up.
work.
Doesn't
No,
add up.
That one
It's
doesn't
something
add up. 'cause
before.
that was only, what, 29 years ago, I think. Maybe a similar island, just like a previous island of God Valley that had a God Valley incident, or whatever the games that the Celestials do on there.
You know, imagine being the leader of this like militia for a kingdom that's under the world government. You see something crazy, you go, that's not for me.
I'm becoming a pirate. And now if we think about it even more, Brooke's holding this little girl's hand.
But Brooke also knows what a holy knight is.
Brooke knows what a holy knight is. That's another big thing. Like, he has at every point been like, whoa, is that a holy knight? Like, he has made it clear that he knows what the heck the world government
He was the musician of a pirate crew,
Yeah.
but is also an amazing swordsman.
Yes.
Isn't afraid of Yonkos.
He stepped up on Big Mom. And
Which
I
we
think he
thought
even
that was a big
referred
deal.
to her, like, as young lady, and I think he refers back to knowing about her when he was already a pirate.
He
So
knew about-
he's had, like, an adult life.
Knew about an up-and-coming pirate named Roger.
Knew about an up-and-coming...
Yeah.
A rookie pirate named Roger. So it's like, he would have known who Big Mum is, probably. He probably would have known who everyone in the God Valley incident was. He probably would have known about rocks and stuff. And what better reason to become a pirate than losing your daughter to the world government that you serve? Like, Gunko's a part of the world government. She likely was a slave and turned immortal. And I think this next backside of this last page is where I'm going to get into what Gunko's role was with the immortality. How she got the immortality so young.
Brooks looking at Gunko going, the resemblance is uncanny.
When did he do that? Oh, up there. I'm not even looking over there. All right, let me move down. Sorry, I was only looking. I got too distracted by the last panel.
No, we need to look at a few more things here. Because we see Summers is alive. He's going, ow.
Yes, okay. So
But he's been pierced by his own thorns, so he's not moving.
Yeah.
He's trapped himself.
Yeah.
But do you notice that there's a spear going through his head and he's still alive? Like,
Yeah, no, there absolutely is. There's one's going through his head, there's one's going through his heart, there's...
what if they're just like husks?
I'm starting to think that because of the last panel. I... Just quickly on Gunko, yeah, I just want to finish that with Brooke being like... We also obviously know Gunko loves Brooke's music. Massive fan of him. And then we see, the resemblance is uncanny. Oh, pardon me. Are you Brooke? Gunko asks. And it's like... So she knows, like, that... Whether it's father-daughter, or whether it's just, like, a
Protect our
family
princess.
Yeah, or that would actually that makes a lot of sense. That's actually really good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're cook.
I'm not a bad co-host.
You cook. No, but that was cooking.
You run the show.
Yeah.
I set you up. You dunk it.
As far as alley oops go, yeah, Brooke being like the bodyguard to a princess, of course I get an incredibly strong musician to do that. Of course she loves his music. The way she says, "Are you Brooke?" suggests that it's probably not her dad, which is, that makes sense. Especially because there's not many resemblances as far as fatherhood goes, or as a parental relationship goes. And we also know Oda found family is the most important thing. Man, this is huge.
But then a voice takes over.
A voice has taken over.
What is taking so long?
At this moment, the Holy Land is a sea of fire. We need greater numbers. Allow Mu to show you the dominance of God. And Gunko is taken over.
Face is gone
Emu.
blank.
Face. Alright, the eyes thing, 2 souls, double ringed eyes, 2 souls. There's no way to dispute that now, I don't think. Cavendish has it. Does
we went over a
Blackbeard
list.
have it?
No.
But there's a ton of characters that have it that you could be like, oh, maybe they have a soul in them, whatever. But I think we're seeing now, clearly when Oda does the dot double ring, he is signifying that there is another soul in that body. And it's probably the reason Gunko only has 1 when she's in her regular form is probably because the other soul can just enter in and enter out of her body.
Yeah.
Now, did you want to touch on your emu theory about who Gunko is to emu?
I don't know if you've noticed this. Do you notice anything else different about Gunko? Does anything else seem longer?
Her hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What up with that?
So her hair's grown. That is interesting. I don't know what that means. Also, the amount of Conqueror's Haki. So
There's a lot going around.
Probably says that Emu's power has some sort of basis in Haki. Emu is probably... I always thought Emu was going to be a devil fruit like god, and that was how it's going to be. I'm starting to think now Emu is the basis of Haki. If you can beat Emu in Haki, you're now the best at Haki. If you can beat Blackbeard, who has 2 devil fruits in use, whether he's eaten 2, whether he's, just utilizing 2, he is, I think, now the bar for, the best fruit user, and I think Emu is the bar for the best Haki user. Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There's a lot to unpack. We have the flashback. We have Emu basically taking over Gunko, but then we also have the Holy Land is a sea of fire.
Yeah. Well, we knew that Revs were going to make a move soon.
They were going to make a move as soon as the Holy Knights did.
Yeah. Yes, of course. That makes perfect sense. So the Revs have made their move.
Well, I had someone in a One Piece news alerts being like, well, it might not be Dragon. I was like, fucking, he said it.
He did say it. Look, most of the time when a writer goes, we'll do this.
When this happens. This has happened. The Holy Knights have appeared.
Yeah, it means that person's going to move. Now, it could also be that Blackbeard is interfering. I think it's more realistic that Lafitte is just doing some intel shit during the chaos. He will just be in there getting something for Blackbeard from Marie-Joie that Blackbeard needs. Whether devil fruit, new devil fruit coming.
That'd
Maybe
be nice.
they have a hidden treasure trove of the best fruits that they're going to use for future God Valley incidences. And yeah, maybe he just wants to take all those fruits, or maybe they have a piece of intel or information that he wants to take. I think Lafitte is going to be at Marie-Joie, but I think it's the Revs doing the damage.
This is going to be crazy, but I actually think the Holy Land is a sea of fire is more exciting than Emu showing up.
Yeah, well, Emu is going to try and wipe out Elbaph. So this is going to be the power. We're about to see the base of what you need in order to beat Emu. You need to be as destructive as this person to beat.
I think for me, the reason I'm more intrigued by that is because we're not seeing that. and like that must have been happening for a while now.
Yeah, I really want to discuss what we think's going to happen next chapter, but you
Do you want me to?
attached a theory to this little pod preparation that I'm all in on.
Okay,
Anyway.
so I'll get some images up, of course. That's why there's this nice little space available between us. When one of the first few times we saw Emu in that little flower garden they have, I'm going to use they, them. Because
Yeah, I think that's the safest bet. We don't know.
we don't know. We have theorizing, she. But what if it is just Blackbeard was referred to as a they?
Yep.
Because it's just not anything. It's this greater being.
It's an idea.
It's an idea. I think
So-
Emu might be an idea. But when we saw Emu, there was someone else in their little garden bed, like a servant girl.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You see it.
You see it maybe somewhere here.
Somewhere around there.
So that already
She
interesting.
has a dedicated servant.
Has a dedicated servant. And then when Cobra confronted the 5 elders, and then
An
Emu
stepped on it.
appeared,
Yeah.
and it was just like, oh my god, there's someone on the throne. And then Cobra tried to get assassinated, but Sabo stepped in. But Cobra got pierced by something. An arrow.
An arrow.
A straight up.
We know a character with an arrow who has now been
A
possessed
Gunko
by
arrow.
Emu. So I think
We all thought it was Emu that had this like...
devil ability or like an I don't think anyone thought it was an arrow based ability. I think everyone was like, maybe the idea was the stereotypical devil's tail, like, oh, okay, she has a devil fruit, and that devil's tail she used as an arrow. But I think now maybe Gunko took Emu's place, or Emu inhabited Gunko's body, took the place on the throne and used her arrow powers. And maybe Emu doesn't have a devil fruit.
Maybe Emu doesn't have a body.
That could well be true.
Why hide a character's face for so long? What if they just don't have a body?
I still
But
think
that's a bit too silly.
I still think the body will be Lily.
What if it's the crown is imbued with the devil fruit? Devil fruit is that too silly?
I don't know. Well, this is where I was going to go on to. What if Emu has the shadow fruit, or the darkness fruit? Because what is one thing that allows you to transport? Like, if she can, or they can, inhabit any shadow or bit of darkness on the world, then theoretically they can pop up at any place. And the way these holy knights are going down, they're probably dead, and they're probably husks, and they are reanimated by the shadows, which we've already seen happens with
Moria.
Yeah,
used shadows.
He used
was that not the
shadows.
shadow?
No,
fruit?
but then that's why I'm saying the darkness fruit. Because to me, like, in the way every devil fruit, there's always like levels to it. You got the kilo, the ton. You got like the fire, and then the magma. You got and then the oven. Like, you've got all these different iterations of basically the same fruit with just different levels of power. I think the darkness will be the peak, and maybe Blackbeard has a Hito Nomi model moon or something like that, moon god, or whatever the thing is. I think the similarity of the two devil fruits, Luffy's and Blackbeard's, maybe my initial prediction of it's just a riding thing to compare them could be true still. But I think it could also be true that maybe he does have an alternative devil fruit, and Emu could have a darkness fruit. But I'm also starting to think now Emu doesn't have any fruit. Right. I think they got the Eternal Youth surgery from a Opi Nomi user, and they have Lilith's body, probably. No, not Lilith. Lily's body, probably. Like an admirer taking the most drastic step to admire a person by becoming them, and then keeping their eternal youth and beauty. And then maybe the same power that allowed Joy Boy to put Haki in a knot is the same power Emu uses to put their own body in other people's bodies, to inhabit other people's bodies.
Emu is Haki.
Emu is Haki, basically, at this point. It could be that. It could be another devil fruit
It's
power.
like when a Jedi dies and they become a
Force ghost. Yeah.
The Haki ghost.
But then
your Haki,
the
your will
Haki
is so
ghost
strong.
is inhabiting the body of Lily. Nefertari D. Lily. Like, that's... I'm so strongly on that, because I think...
What if the will of D stands for death?
Their
will is so powerful they live past death.
Maybe there's could be something like that. The D thing, I'm thinking more of a smile. But I could also see it being like death, desire, dreams. There's so many things it could be. I just think with Emu, we're gonna see probably a level of Haki that we've never seen before. And I'm starting to think, and a lot of this is based on the fact that there is just such ridiculous Conqueror's Haki coming off Gunko, that I think like Emu, maybe, yeah.
Look, someone's body has just been taken over.
Yeah, we've never had that, like, except for when there's another body inhabiting the body. Cavendish.
Yeah.
Luffy. Really? Like Luffy when he goes... Does Chopper get ring dyes when he goes Monster Point?
I think it just goes... It goes black.
It goes black? Okay.
But sorry, just before you go out of this...
Yeah.
Why is Gunko's face covered? Like, I just think that's interesting.
I think that's just a style choice. I think that's just character design. Maybe. Do you think there's, like, nothing under the bandages?
Well, it could have just been... why hide the bandages? That's, for me, is interesting. Like, why is Emu always being perceived as something that doesn't seem to have, like...
Well, just as a...
physical features.
Just as a...
I know it's to, like, allow us to understand, oh, it's Emu. But, like, the bandages could still be there. You could still have it, like, I don't know, it's just weird to hide the bandages as well.
Yeah. If you'll allow the shitty literature answer, it's probably to give us a sign that this is an evil character. Black shading tends to just mean, like, he's trying to hide something either behind the black, or the personality needs to be shrouded in darkness so that the reader is well aware that this person's not good. And sadly, this is written for children, so it could be pretty basic, like, writing.
What if one of us fakes that we have this, like, health issue and we're going to die soon, and we get so far we have to do Make-A-Wish?
And we get
see where I'm going? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, like that one kid in 2012, apparently.
Yeah, what happened to him? Did he...
I think there's one answer on what happened to him. If the disease didn't take him...
Oda did?
Oda's like, you can't have my secrets.
Rest in peace, brother.
Yeah. I hope that's real. I don't actually know if it's real.
Yeah, but the Sea of Fire, that the Holy Land, that, to me, is interesting. Also, because of something I brought up maybe last week or the week before, about how shocked Akainu was during Vegapunk's speech. Could he be going to the Holy Land being like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you need to calm down. And he's just like, no. What is going on in this world?
Do you think he could have started the fire? No, but, like, I'm not against it. Like, imagine if Akainu starts... Just as far as we know Akainu as a character, wouldn't it be just a beautiful bit of irony if he starts the fire
revolution
that the revolutionaries pounce on to attack Merijois?
A sea of fire.
A sea of fire. Now, I want to continue to discuss this, but I think I want to get into what's next, and I want to make some predictions, because I think there's probably 3 ways that I can think of this going, and then there's probably the 4th way, which is I'm completely wrong and Oda's going to do something that, you know, and no one would have guessed. But I just think from, like, there's 3 potentials of what the next chapter, or maybe the chapter after that, looks like. So the first thing, flashback. Could this be us entering another Brook flashback? And on top of that, could this enter the God Valley flashback? Now, I think we're going to get the God Valley flashback this arc. I'm going to put that down as a bold prediction. God Valley flashback 100% comes in this arc.
Boom. God Valley flashback prediction 1.
But I think that flashback will be used to teach Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro Haki. I could see us getting a little flashback of Brook and this kingdom that he worked for. Or I could see us just moving straight into the fact that Emu is about to destroy Elbaph. And then we'll get the God Valley flashback. And maybe this Brook flashback comes later at Merijois or something. Thoughts on those 3 possibilities? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Next chapter could just be... No, I don't think next chapter is going to be flashbacks.
No?
I think Emu's taken over a little bit now, and it'll take a while for that to happen.
Play out.
If
so you think Emu's going to be here for a good couple chapters?
Yeah, I think this is now... Surely this has to be when Luffy gets involved.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a gap. See, the issue with Luffy getting involved straight away, he's going to lose.
But what's going to happen? Does Emu just kill these kids? Emu is going, what is taking so long? Our homeland is in a sea of fire.
Yeah.
We need all of you here. I'm fucking getting involved to show the dominance of God.
Yeah.
Is this... Are we just about to see
Do you think Emu
genocide?
Yes, potentially. We could just see Emu hit out the most ridiculous conqueror's blast ever and just knock everyone out and probably kill the weakest people on the island. Good thing is, it's the giant of Elbaph giants, so probably none of them die from Emu's conqueror's blast, but I think there's a chance.
This is someone who refers to himself as a god.
Imagine we get Eustace Kid being, like, next chapter. We get Eustace Kid and Killer's, like, update on where they are. And it's, like, Killer's, like, trying to help Eustace Kid. And then Eustace Kid wakes up and then Emu's Conqueror's Blast just kills him immediately. And Killer's like, what the fuck? Like, wakes up and he's like, oh, he's dead now. Because that would show, like, the strength of Emu's Conquerors. If he can just, like,
die for sure.
If he can kill Kid fully. Because then it also saves...
And then Emu kills a kid.
Then Emu kills a kid. But it also saves Shanks from the murderer bars, which...
I'm fine with Shanks being a murderer.
I'm also pretty fine with it, but I don't know if Oda is like, I want my mentor character to be a murderer. I think he's like, no, probably shouldn't do that.
Lucky Rowe can shoot someone in the head, but...
Yeah, I know, but we don't care about bandits. It's the same thing as like, oh, Luffy never kills people, he crushes their dreams. And it's like, brother, I just watched Luffy run past 18 people and throw them off a 100-foot drop. Like, they're all dead.
Wano at the raid on Onigashima.
Yeah.
Like, he was killing people.
Throwing people off, just like, hey, Luffy was killing people. But Luffy doesn't kill people because they're henchmen and they don't count as
he
deaths.
just puts his fist so hard onto their head that it just collapses their neck.
Yeah, like, he's killing hella people. But... Oda's always like, no, he never kills them, he just crushes their spirit.
But
okay.
I think this negates my theory on Big Mom making an appearance.
Yeah.
Unless all hell just...
Unless Big Mom is a part of the... What if... I hate this idea. I hate it. What if Big Mom does come back, cause her story needs to go full circle? What if she does come back as, like, a punching bag?
Yeah, Emu's just, like, dead.
Like, Emu's gone, like... Once Emu's gone and the crew is learning how to beat them, they do some Haki training with Scopper. Probably, this is the thing, I think, honestly, we could see Scopper and everyone down in the Abyss stay there for a while. Like, for months or weeks. Learning from Scopper. Or maybe a few days. Maybe, like, 3 days. But I could imagine them not going back up. Because Scopper's like, you're gonna lose.
Oh, like, and there is a doctor down there.
Yeah.
The giant.
The one who helped Loki.
I can't think of her name.
Yeah, no, I can't either. I keep thinking Ripley, but not Ripley.
No, Ripley's the wife.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Shout out.
More into Guinness World Records. You ever been to the museum? No, don't worry.
No, but I've drunk a lot of Guinness.
I don't like it. No, I think Scopper could be like, hey guys, don't go up there. Like, you're gonna die. And basically just let Emu... I hope Emu, because of the urgency of Mary Joie burning, may just be like, Conqueror's Blast, I'm out of this bitch. And
let's go.
Bring the Holy Knights back with them. And then we get Summers getting reformed. We get Killingham going back. We get Gunko probably being a servant. Now, I think I did also... Yeah, you brought up the servant with Emu in the first flower garden we see. What would make more... Like, to me, it makes a lot of sense for Emu to be like, hand pick a servant 80 years ago and then go, I'm going to give this person immortality so that I can just have a servant that I can trust. Like, someone that is so broken down and I've tortured so much that I don't have to put in any work getting more servants in the future. Like, you'd want... If you're that powerful, you'd want a servant that's there always.
Yep.
What better way than to either, one, make them a husk of themselves, or two, give them eternal youth. So it makes a lot of sense to me now that why Gunko wasn't a Holy Knight all along, but is still theoretically immortal only maybe 10, 15 years after the interaction with Brooke that we see. Like, she's a little girl there. She's probably late teenager at this point, like 16, 17. So if you give like 10 years to Gunko and then give her immortality, then 80 years or 100 years later, she then becomes a Holy Knight or like has to actually start fighting. That makes sense to me. That makes the timelines make sense for me. I actually don't remember where I was going with that. I think that's actually just the end of my point.
Yep. So while you're also talking, I was just thinking about Gunko.
Mm-hmm.
The bandages.
Yep.
Did we see Gunko eat a few chapters before? You know, when like Summers and Killingham were...
Yeah, it was only an idea. It was a dream food.
Yeah, but was Gunko eating?
Yeah.
So we've seen Gunko's mouth.
No.
What if the bandages are just covering nothing? What if they're there to keep Gunko together?
Yeah,
I know it's
weaker bodies may like fall apart, so she needs the bandages on to like survive.
It's like an arrow. Well, it's an arrow fruit, not a bandage fruit.
No, but the way her arrows work, she may have just wrapped herself with arrows. But then that would also keep her held in, so she doesn't like
fall apart,
dust or fall apart or anything.
Because if you can cut them, what if like, you know, what if Scopa just cut Summer's hand and then threw it?
Yeah, I am intrigued by that. I'm like, do you think that, the limbs and stuff can be regrown, or do they have to be reattached?
Oh no, they regenerate.
They regenerate, but maybe in order to regenerate, they need like the mass still, because usually the arms turn to dust and then it regenerates. Like if you cut a Holy Knight's arm, the limb turns to, you know, black and shrivels away like the elder that died, and then the arm regrows, or maybe it happens all simultaneously, but like I just think maybe because the mass isn't breaking up into that like ash stuff, maybe he can't regrow his arm. Maybe he needs his arm to be reattached, or in this case his torso to be reattached.
Yeah.
I think it's very like possible. There's so many possibilities with what's happening. Like, and you know what? Knowing One Piece, it's gonna be nothing we say, and that's the best part. Like, I know there's been a bit of drama in the theory community about a podcast in Japan hosted by everyone on Twitter was saying Oda was saying these things. That's not what he was saying. What happened was a theorist went on a podcast who is friends with Oda and spoke about Oda's opinions. That's hearsay. It's not legally liable. You need to take everything with a grain of salt. The reason it can't be used in the court of law is because people can lie. It's really easy. And I think there's definitely a chance where, like, one of the things he said was, like, Oda has said, I don't watch theories anymore because some of them get a little too close. And also, he doesn't do it so his writing doesn't suffer because he's scared that if he listens to theories, he'll assume the casual viewer has in-depth knowledge of the series in the same way theorists and theory fans do.
So what David Lynch did with Twin Peaks.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, oh, you want to figure out what's going on? Guess what? Flip it.
Yeah.
Pissed everyone off.
Yeah. But, like, that's like, that makes sense to me. But there was definitely that drama, but it was all misconstrued because a lot of people were saying it was Oda saying these things. It wasn't Oda saying these things. And I think what he was actually saying was, yeah, like, I'm not writing from a perspective of, like, impossible to guess. Like, there are going to be things and theories that people have made Western community, in the Japanese community, that are going to be accurate. And some of them that may even be 100%. Like, I really think at this point it's barely even a theory that someone on the crew is going to get Kuma's fruit. We've got Kuma's body. He still has the pores on his body. We don't know if the fruit's regenerated. We think he's still, like, partially alive.
Where is Kuma?
He's
at the Holy Land.
Is he?
It was the last time we saw him. He, like, slapped himself. I mean, he was climbing up the wall.
Oh, that's right.
Fuck, maybe it's just...
I thought Kuma was with... Like, I thought
the Revs?
Kuma's body was with the Straw Hats.
No, he ended
don't
up...
they take him from Elbaph?
Kuma
goes from... don't they take him from Egghead? Kuma goes... Fights Akainu and then slaps himself from Merijois. Like, he confronts Akainu, or Akainu confronts him. He slaps himself at Merijois, goes to Egghead, did his work and business at Egghead, died at Egghead, and then with Lilith and Bonnie take Kuma's body on the ship. I think he's on the ship.
I can't remember.
I would need to confirm that, but I believe he's on the ship.
So he went from, we've been with the Revs. Oh, because Sabo freed him, ended up back at the Revs, then ended up teleporting to, and was just fucking shit up.
Fucking shit up there. Climbs it because he can't teleport up, so he slams into Merijois, climbed it, got to the top, fucks some shit up. Akainu confronts him, he slaps himself again. Do you not remember that when Akainu, like, stands there and he's like, what are you doing, Kuma? And then Kuma's like, beep, Egghead.
Not really.
Ah, okay.
I
may
kind
be
of do.
misremembering,
I need
but
to.
I believe that was the order of...
So Kuma's back. Yeah, because, of course, Bonnie saw him and
Yes.
just, like, broke down.
Yeah, and, like...
As we're seeing now in the anime.
Again at Egghead. Yes. He dies at Egghead, but then he gets... Because he's a cyborg and Lilith is there. She's probably keeping him on life support.
Mm-hmm.
And the theory
Changing out his batteries.
is every single... straw hat that has a fruit, the first two syllables of every fruit match with numbers. Now it's like he, toe, like matches with two numbers. We got like, I know Luffy's with the gu mu, that's 5-6, and that's why we see so much like 56 symbology with Luffy. I don't know what the numbers for everyone is, but it's like, I don't even know what Robin's fruit is called. But every fruit, the first two syllables is the same as the first two syllables for a number. Like, this is a theory that has existed in the Japanese community for hundreds of years. I'm not giving it hundreds of years. Hundreds of years, that's funny. Yep, I'm going to say it. I'm not giving it the credit it deserves by, doing it. Maybe I'll send you a, screenshot of the...
Numbers.
The numbers.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
Shout out to Black Ops 1. But yeah, I think Nikkyu is the last two numbers that aren't represented by the crew. Nikkyu Nikinomi is Kuma's fruit.
Mm.
I've always been of the theory that Vivi is going to join the crew in the back half of the story again, and she would be a great person to get
And
the
she's got
pawpaw fruit.
Great reason to fuck up the world government.
Yeah, it could also be Frankie. He'd be great with it.
He doesn't want a devil fruit.
He doesn't want a devil fruit. Nami, probably not. Usopp, probably not. I can't see it with either of them. And then that
But
just sort
Usopp,
of lead...
give it to his weapon.
Usopp could also give it to a weapon. That would also make a lot of sense. Like if
What if
Usopp gave
Enmo
it to us,
Kaido's fruit?
I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I don't know what would happen.
Shit
I
would
think
happen.
if you were able to give Enma a fruit, imagine giving Enma a Hito no Mi and just creates the most like ridiculous Conqueror's Haki. It can like absorb Conqueror's Haki from other people. And just fucking, that would be cool as shit. But yeah, no, I think there's like a lot of options on what could happen. I think we're at a great point in One Piece where it's like we're getting answers
Shit's
relatively
happening.
quickly. Yeah, like
Emu's appeared on the
Emu's
battlefield.
appeared for the first ever time on a battlefield. Other like we could sort of say, oh, you know, she was there for the Reverie. I think now we can probably say that was Gunko impersonating Emu, or not impersonate, being controlled by Emu so that Emu could use Gunko's powers. Now, whether Emu has a separate power that allows them to do all this, whether it's like a darkness fruit, and they actually have the Yami no Mi, and they use the shadows and the darkness to inhabit people and to transport people, and all the witch symbol or all the occult symbology is just more of like a taste thing. Like, oh yeah, I'll make these little teleportation points look like occult because I'm evil, basically, just like from a writing perspective.
I almost said like
pentagrams.
a puppet fruit.
Yes, which would also make sense because Doflamingo is our first real interaction with a holy knight, not a holy knight, sorry,
Celestial dragon.
celestial dragon who is an oppressive force on people. Like, all celestial dragons are that, and that's how systemic oppression works. But, and as far as individuals go, I don't think there's been one that's been like on land oppressing people at their own island. The only one that's actually living on an island and not in the Holy Land that we know before Doflamingo is the Nefertari family, and they are not an oppressive force. They are for the people.
Progressive.
They're a progressive for the people, monarch. And then we see Doflamingo, who represents the reality of the celestial dragons in the fact that he still wants to be a celestial dragon, and he had a fall from grace, and his goal is to get back there. Where the Nefertaris, they chose to leave, and they've, stood by their decision. And we see Doflamingo be a puppeteer of his island. So I think there is more than enough chance that a puppet fruit or something even more puppeteering fruit exists, and it's emus at this point as well.
A way to be able to get into control all your holy knights.
Yeah, and a way to probably take away their soul and give them... because we know death isn't the physical body in this series. Death of the physical body does not mean death of the soul.
Yep.
Brooke.
But that was with a soul fruit?
No, that was the life fruit. So his fruit, technically, when you die the first time, you just you get one. You get one
lost
resurrection. But because of him losing himself in the fog, his soul losing himself, that body disintegrates to a point, or denigrates to a point, but the time Brooke finds his soul, he's a skeleton, so he's theoretically immortal because he doesn't have to deal with organs and, like disease and stuff like that, like bodily wounds, because he's a soul taking on that can leave his corporeal form. Back to episode 1. Full circle. So I think, because what? Big Mum's got the soul fruit, so it can't be that.
Brooke is the soul king.
Brooke is the soul king, and has the life
I
fruit.
haven't seen a soul queen.
What about a soul sister?
Ah.
Hey, soul sister. But yeah, so like I don't know if it's going to be a soul-based fruit, but I think there is something that maybe allows Emu to take people's souls.
Queen of Soul, like Aretha Franklin.
Hell yeah. She's got the Hito no Me model Aretha Franklin. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be really interesting, whatever it is. So do you think Emu's going to be here for more than one chapter? Or do you think she's in and out, getting her troops and going back to Mary Schwa? Yeah.
Because of what is taking so long. Emu's not going to now, like, show up and be like,
Let's fight.
whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
She's like, boom, dead. I reckon all these kids will just die.
So you reckon they're coming in and killing people? Because my thinking is we're probably going to see her come in, Conqueror's
snap.
Blast,
Peace out.
peace out. I think it'll be Conqueror's Blast, knock out everyone, snap. Everyone except for the people on the...
Yeah, what if it is like
The underworld?
Avengers Infinity War type thing?
She just snaps half the...
Just does the thing, they attack, and they're like, had your chance, peace out,
Yeah,
gone.
yeah. I think that makes sense. Like, I don't think she's going to be... Or they're going to be...
I don't mean to have all my theories originate from Marvel, but... Of the Ragnarok, which is, Norse mythology.
Yeah. Well, it's... You're finding parallels between other IPs that also derive a lot of their storytelling from old stories. Like, a lot of comic books are written as a sensationalization of
The Bible.
stories from the history of humanity. Like, in the same way that 90 or like tons of romance movies are just Romeo and Juliet rehashed. Like, a lot of power-based movies are just Macbeth rehashed. Like, we restructure old stories because it's a great way of storytelling. Two, you're using stories that are tried and true to make sense to people, and people understand them, and they have a history of knowing them. So by using them as allegory or using them as comparison, or writing in a perspective that accentuates or references those, is referential to those things, it brings fans in. It makes them understand where you're writing from. It makes them understand where the story's coming from. A lot of them share similar values and beliefs to what like a story like One Piece is trying to do. Like, a lot of stories are about... The Odyssey is about, like, will and, like, drive. And
One Piece Odyssey.
One Piece Odyssey. I really struggle to play. I have the game right here. I really struggle to play it. I don't like turn-based combat.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was until I bought it. I was like, oh. Because I don't do trailers.
Don't do trailers.
Don't do
so,
trailers.
yeah, I think...
This Emu Gunko fusion will just fuck shit up, leave.
Yeah.
Be like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Might blow up the castle, like, just...
Could be Conqueror's Blast that blows up, like, or a branch or something like that.
We know Gunko can shoot arrows. Imagine if they're filled with, like, this advanced Conquerors.
Yeah, crazy.
Just, honestly, just
Crazy.
decimates the land.
Yeah. Like, I think that is
Elbaph.
going to be what... I think Emu is probably going to destroy the tree. I think the Elbaph tree could be destroyed. The Adam tree.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen next chapter. I think it'll either be this, or we'll see what's happening in the Holy Land.
We could also get Holy Land.
I keep thinking there's going to be like it's going to like go to something else.
I also think that, and we're also at that part of the arc where typically would get a flashback. Like, this is around the scene that you'd get a Kuma flashback from.
Yeah.
Like, in Egghead. Like, it was when the Gorosei came to Egghead. Once they landed on Egghead, then we got the Kuma flashback. We got a little bit of an interaction with them.
There's
Kuma
always
fights them,
an
and
intermission.
There's an intermission for a
Interlude.
diversion, a reverie of whatever, a flashback. I think you're right. I think we either maybe not next chapter, but maybe next chapter we get half of the chapter being like Emu fucking shit up, and I think we'll probably end up getting a panel of Scopper getting saved by a blur or something, like an indescript person. My
Crocus.
mind's gonna be on Crocus. That'd be sick. Shanks.
Well, Crocus was a doctor, wasn't he?
Crocus was a doctor, yes, but he is.
He's far away.
I think also now we can probably the theory that the Roger Pirates are being set up at different crucial points along the Grand Line, islands you have to go to get to the Grand Line. You have to go through Reverse Mountain to get to Fishman Island. You have to go to Salbodia, Pelago, whatever.
Archipelago.
That's the word. Archipelago.
You went so quiet. You're like Sabodia.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know this one. I'm just gonna mutter it. I hope you guys understand. Salbodi. You have to go there and get your thing. Yeah, I'm looking.
Do you ever look at him? Just be like, give him a little wink.
I look at him quite a bit.
I flicked him off once. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that, and I don't be watching our videos. I listen. But yeah, like Salbodi, you have to go there. Elbaph, I guess, was just the next stop that was like a necessity for the Straw Hats to go to. And that was just where Oda decided to put Scopper, and the mural and the library is the reason it was a like must stop, and also the history with Little Garden and giants in general. Like the Straw Hats had to go to Elbaph, so Oda placed Scopper as that being like his island that he has to wait for someone to come to, and what they're waiting for was whoever Shanks gave the hat to, and Shanks probably stole the fruit to give to Ace. And then Luffy ate it, so he gave Luffy the hat. Because he was like, this kid's actually just the exact same as Roger. And I'm sure Shanks probably met Ace and was like, this kid's less like Roger than I expected.
Yeah.
So he just put his money on Luffy, and Roger was probably like, hey guys, hey crew, set up on different areas and watch out for a kid with a straw hat and help that kid, because I've entrusted Shanks to choose who is going to be the person that takes my legacy. Or that Shanks gets to determine who has my legacy already, my will already. So I think that makes sense for me why Scopper's here. I doubt we'll see an interaction between two Roger Pirates before the end of the, other than Shanks, before the end of the series. Like maybe like the Merijois fight, we'll get Rayleigh, Crocus.
I don't think we'll see Rayleigh.
You don't think we see Rayleigh and Scopper?
He's going to stay on Amazon, protect them.
Yeah.
As much as he can.
Yeah. Because Amazon Lily's probably going to go, and I think also Boa is definitely going to go to Merijois to save Luffy.
Do we consider her part of the Grand Fleet?
No, she's not. She's not a part technically of the Grand Fleet. The Amazon Lily pirates are.
But if Luffy gets captured, she's going to be there.
She's going to be there.
She's going to be there.
She's going to be there. I think it's, if Luffy doesn't die end of series, which is my personal take, is like by the time the story's all wrapped up, Luffy's going to get killed. And he's going to die with a smile on his face, and he's going to be like, I achieved my dream. You know? Like he'll say something that inspires
the world's biggest party.
Yeah, he'll inspire the next generation, probably at his execution, and that will be how the story ends. Or he'll be like, I'm leaving it in your hands, or some bullshit like that. Like, oh, you got any food?
Going back to my home planet, and just shoots up.
He just shoots up into space, and he goes beyond the moon. Undescript planet.
The sun.
Luffy moves to the sun. End of series theory. Let's make a 1 hour shitpost theory episode. Just faking that we believe it.
Should I get some cards?
You want to crack open a card?
Yeah,
let's go pack each today.
Pack each?
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, you've got your rollies in them.
Yes. Don't. Have a look over there behind that monitor. Just bought a box of them because they're.
Oh my lord!
Because they're getting banned.
Are they?
Yeah.
Damn.
The Menthies.
All right. You open yours. I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen next. You know, I don't know. I think it's going to. Sometimes I'm just terrible at talking, and I'm like, God, this is a part of this job is just talking. It's like, God, it's so tricky. No, I think Gunko Emu. I'm just gonna keep referring to her as Gunko. They'll just fuck shit up, and then dip.
Yeah.
Then maybe there'll be a training period on Elbaph. The Straw Hat crew will stay behind, just to help the residents of Elbaph re-establish themselves.
Yeah, while the others train, while the ones that need
And
to
while
train.
that's happening, we're just going to be at Merijois, just watching this. The Revs potentially, the Revs fucking shit up.
Yeah,
Or it's the Blackbeard Pirates, which it probably isn't going to be.
I think it's going to be both.
By some chance, Akainu, who is just...
I think all three parties will be there.
Snapped.
I think all three parties will be there. I think Akainu is going to defend Merijois, but this is what's going to make him be like,
Reluctantly.
ooh, yeah, reluctantly. Blackbeard's going to do some like tomfoolery, a little bit of trickery, get in, do some intel stuff, steal some stuff, just up his game. And then the Revs, back to what I said, I think, because we obviously know Sabo has the Dragon Claw power. And like that seems to be related to Haki, the way he like does it. Like it's just like him doing Haki really strong. It was probably Rio based, honestly, advanced. But I think Dragon is well aware of what needs to, or how to beat these guys, because the way the Roger Pirates and the characters that do know how to defeat the Holy Knights, which is only Scopper, but I'm assuming is others, they would have learned that on God Valley when they had to fight them.
And why? I wonder why. Maybe this is why Garp has pushed Haki so much.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we need to have the strongest Haki.
In order to beat the strongest people.
And what if shit goes down and we're not for it?
And Garp also, it makes so much sense that Garp's just been planning the demise of the world government using the avenue of the Marines. He's doing it from inside the system,
But she's probably all for the Marines. I don't think there's anybody in the Marines who is against the Marines.
Yes.
I think they're all against potentially higher up.
I think, I think the world government, or the Celestial Dragons, I should say specifically, not every Marine fucks with them, but every Marine also doesn't fuck with pirates.
Yep.
So I think that's 100%. It. It's just like you don't like pirates, but it doesn't mean you fuck with the Celestials. A lot of them, I think, just don't like pirates, get into the system, and then go, wait, this is just protecting the Celestial Dragons. Like, I'm just a lapdog of the Celestial Dragons.
Yep.
I'm not protecting the world from pirates. But once you're in, you can still do more good against, like, pirates that are messing up world government islands than you can if you were just, like, a pirate or a mercenary or a revolutionary. So I've cracked my first pack. Do you want to do the pulling and I'll do the holding on this one?
Yeah, of course.
So we can
Iceberg. I'm only gonna show things that we haven't seen.
Yeah, fake straw hat pirate. Yep.
Bluno.
Yep.
Don Asino.
Yep.
Chopper
Man. Yep. Seen all these. Jonathan.
German 66.
We got the Cloud Barterman again.
Blah, blah, blah.
We got Vista.
Yeah, cool.
Kamei.
And then this is going to be...
Monkey D. Garp.
Man himself.
Shiny. Baby.
And then...
Nami. With a little tangerine field. No, that's cute.
Is it a rare one at all?
It's got a little shininess about it, but I don't know if it's like an old color or anything.
Saxon, take the wheel.
I'm going to take the wheel while you do this. Yeah, I think I'm of the personal opinion that we're not going to see much of Emu right now. I think this is the beginning of what the power floor of Emu is, like how strong you have to be just to compete with them. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be them all out destroying Elbaph. I personally think we're going to see a massive Conqueror's Blast, and then we're going to get a training arc.
Hopefully. I think that'd be a nice thing to do. That person...
Olga.
Soga King. Mary Go.
Garu.
It's interesting how many of the same cards there are.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little shocked about how... But I guess that's what happens when it's only base set 2 and we're buying something from the same base set. Like, that makes sense. Gaimon. Also, quickly, Gaimon's Island was where they held a God Valley
We would assume so.
Like the odd animals, the 6 treasure chests, which was the same as God Valley. I think we can
What does
safely
Daimon
say
know?
probably nothing. He probably just fell in them. Cloud Bottoman. Gum Giant Pistol. Vista.
I think we're gonna have something hectic in this. I'm seeing bits of
Jeremy
I'm seeing
66. Buggy is a
Buggy?
shiny. It is.
That's fun. I think this next
That's
one
the
might
first
be
special
something.
one. Oh, it's all white. That's Sengoku. Oh,
Yeah.
that was sort of disappointing.
But we got Garp and Sengoku, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
we did. We got which is topical, because we were just talking about Garp.
You know,
And we
Sengoku
spoke about Sword last week, didn't we?
probably didn't need to retire when he did, but he's just went through some shit and he's like, oh, fuck, this is enough.
I think he was just like, all right, this next generation's not on me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be here to help them when they need it. But yeah, that was our card opening portion of the podcast. I think we've discussed a lot and we've bounced a lot of ideas. I don't think we need to really delve into any of them because we've speculated plenty. We've made our predictions. I personally, I'm gonna lay down my prediction for the next chapter. If it's not a flashback of Brooke, it will simply be Emu wiping out with a massive Conqueror's Blast pretty much everyone who's on the tree of Elbaph, and all of those, and we'll probably get a blurry character saving Scopper from falling. My money will be on Sanji in the end. And we're going to get Scopper and the people on the ground learning how to take out these Holy Knights. And I'm also going to extend that to, I think Chopper makes his way down there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could also be Chopper that saves him. Chopper jumps down, saves him with his reindeer powers of flight.
I think Scopper got too far. I don't think Chopper would be able to make it there.
You don't think Chopper's there in time? Well, yeah, okay. I think Chopper is going to learn whatever ability that the Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, Loki, and Hiruden are about to learn. I think Chopper's going to be in there.
Because Chopper, I feel like, has been very factual with the fact that when he's learnt something that's important, he's like, I need to.
Yeah, he's definitely the most, like, intellectually driven.
He's going to go to Summers and go, oh, it looks like there's Haki imbued on him.
Yeah.
I need
I
to
also
figure out how to
feel
do
like
this.
Chopper has notoriously gone in between the weakest and the strongest character in the crew. When Chopper got Monster Point for the first time, I really don't know if Luffy would have been able to beat him. When he got that first Monster Point at Marineford, I really don't know if maybe Gear 3 Luffy could have beaten him. But I think Chopper at that point was stronger than Zoro and Sanji
Yeah, I think Chopper will be like, guys,
at his peak.
We need to learn
how to do this.
Also, Chopper is the kid of the crew, so I think by end of series, Chopper is going to be very likely to be a top 4 Straw Hat, strength-wise. Probably number 4. Sanji and Zoro, Luffy, Monster
we
Trio.
had the weak trio.
The Weakling Trio, yeah.
The Weakling Trio witness what Scopper did.
Yeah,
Maybe that's like an eye-opening moment for them.
that they need to switch it on. We can already assume, I feel like with Usopp, he may not get the attacking power upgrade, but his observation is probably going to get outrageous.
Because I know it's the whole thing of like these characters have their character traits, but fuck, it gets to a point. Like, remember when everyone came back from the 2-year training period and like they were just all so powerful,
and
Yeah.
now it's just gone back to like how it was.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're in preparation to reset the powers of everyone who hasn't kept up with Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. And yeah, because even like Jinbei this has been a fucking bad week for Jinbei. He does not look good in this chapter.
No.
Or in this arc as a whole. And Brook, with his connections to Gunko, very much in for a big time upgrade. Frankie with Vegapunk, maybe for the first time able to actually sit down with Vegapunk and do some science stuff. Robin's about to get a whole knowledge upgrade.
But people have been coasting.
People have been coasting off Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji for the last...
But what happens now when they're
4
not in the
arcs.
picture?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. They don't know where they are. They don't know where Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji probably don't have the observation ability to find the crew on the Atom Tree. But yeah, I can definitely see Chopper getting every power up that those three get. I think. Now, I don't want to say that I'm not going to say that Nami's going to be able to do a Haki, a Conqueror's Blast. I don't think she has that level of Conquerors where she's going to be able to blast it. I don't think Usopp is either. But I could see Usopp learning how to imbue his pellets with Conqueror's Haki, which can pierce the Holy Knights. I would be able to see, like, Robin learn how to, like, imbue her petals with it. Frankie be able to do his blast and, like, lasers. He'll put, like,
Laser Haki.
Yeah, like laser Haki. Like, I could see all those things happening.
Strong right fist.
Brook probably will get... Again, I don't think these guys are going to do Conqueror's Blast, because I actually think Conqueror's Blast, like the Conquerors we know as Conqueror's Haki, is Advanced Conquerors. I think Advanced Conquerors imbuing things with it is actually the easier form of Conqueror's Haki, because you can use a little amount of it to imbue it into something.
I like that.
Where with a blast, you've got to be like, all my Haki. Everyone's scared. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think everyone is going to be able to do that, but I do think they are going to be able to use Advanced Conquerors in the same way Zoro achieved that before ever doing a blast. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah. And then for me, I understand these character traits are in place to have these characters, but I think they can still be strong without being the strongest.
Exactly. And we saw that, as you said, with the time skip. They were...
But what's meant to happen? Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy do all the fights?
Yeah, that's not what it's going to be. Well, I guess you could do that if you then go Sabo, Loki, Trafalgar. Like, once you go for, like, all these other big dogs and put them in the battle, then maybe you can get away with it. And you can allow Robin to just be an archaeologist. And you can allow Frankie to just be a ship, right? And, like, do his ship business and have crazy tech to help enhance the team.
Yeah.
And basically become a scientist. And I think Brook, being a musician, has to also have battle power. So I think he gets an upgrade. Jinbei's going to have battle power as well, being the helmsman. Sanji's going to have battle power. Zoro's going to have Luffy is. Usopp is going to inherently get a battle power upgrade, but I think realistically he's going to get an observation upgrade. His Haki he's probably going to get future sight. He's probably going to get, like, the ability to, like, put armament or conquerors into his pallets and use those. Nami, I think, like, she could get away with just being a navigator, but she needs something. Like, something needs to give for Nami.
Observation. If she's going to be, like, navigating, I think observation's good.
I think observation would be great for her. I think for the characters that
always
don't
know where
need
to go.
Be battle ready, observation makes sense. For Usopp, Nami, those two, it makes sense. I think Chopper is really going to have a crazy upgrade, and probably, how funny would it be, just like as a joke, that if end of series Chopper has a bigger bounty than Luffy?
Maybe.
Like, it just is like a funny little thing. Also, the Hito Nomi things, like, there's a lot of... Chopper is something special.
He is.
And he hasn't gotten the credit he's deserved or the growth he's deserved throughout the story, but he's always gotten massive heaps of growth in one hit.
Mm-hmm.
Monster point hit, and then it was like, oh, I found all these other points. And then time skip happens. He goes, I've mastered all my points. I don't need Rumble Balls anymore. So when he uses a Rumble Ball now, he's getting, like, either a new form or he's getting a massive power up to the form he already has. Or he can control Monster Point. Like, he always gets massive upgrades in short periods of time. Probably because he's young. Probably also because it's harder to write another character who has gradual progression. Like, gradual progression is not something you can easily write. And he has to do it with Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy. Every arc. He has to have them get a little stronger.
Yep.
It's hard to add Chopper into that. And make it meaningful.
Buddy, we have to wrap things up.
Gotta wrap things up.
I have to pee so bad.
I also do, so I'm very glad you called that.
It's been an hour and a half.
Hour and 40 now.
We got some bits to trim at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Took a while to that synced the audio.
Yes, it did. It did. But yeah, no, it was an amazing chapter. Plenty to talk about. We yapped on non-stop.
Tom and Florian, leave your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting the crew. But you know what? I gotta say it. I love cherry pies.
I hate cherry pies.
I hate drink.
Drink bad? No, drink good. Drink good.
Drink good. Mocktown Podcast. Thanks for listening. Hit like, subscribe. If you're feeling the vibe, I don't know.
Like, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe.
Someone else uses that. I've
they?
used that of someone. I've used it of someone, but I can't remember. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, covering chapter 1149.
1150
1150 next week. Yeah, there's no break week notice, so that's good. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you at the Mocktown pub next week. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.